Welcome, students. Hopefully, you are fine. Better, we are going to start the new chapter, and the title of this chapter is Plants and its Classification. My dear students, as you know, that in the last chapter we have discussed that what are the classification of animals. You know better animals in general divided into two main groups, vertebrates and invertebrates. And we have already discussed in the last chapter that the whole stuff in this universe is divided into two main groups. One is called living thing and other is your non-living thing. And living thing is divided into five main kingdoms or groups, and the name of those groups are prokaryotes, which are the unicellular animals, the tiny animals, the microorganisms, and Monera. Third one is fungi, fourth one is plants, and fifth one is animals. Now, beta, in this chapter, we are going to discuss that what is the classification of plants. But today, the main objective of my today's lecture is just to have a quick recap about the structure of plants and the what is plant and what the advantages we get from plants. My dear students, it is on your screen that the classification of system is on the basis of five groups. First group is your prokaryotes, second is monera, third one is fungi, fourth one is animals, and fifth one is your plants. You know what is plant? There is a lot of different. There are many differences between plants and animals. One of the important difference between animals and plant is that plants cannot move. They have a static, what we can say, that they are static in nature. They can't move here and there due to its roots. And animals, we can move here and there according to their own will. The plant kingdom is divided. Before we are going to discuss the classification of plant, first we have to discuss and make the point clear that is plant considered as living things or it is the type of non-living thing. Like all other living things, plant also show the pattern of life. For example, all living organisms get their life and they take their birth. Similarly, when we draw a seed inside the soil, we get a new life from the seed. This is the birth of a plant. After some time, plant, like all other living organisms, plant also increase in size and it adopt the pattern of growth. Yes, after some time, it uh, it it reaches its maximum size like all other living organisms, and here it's supposed to reproduce like all other living organisms. As in case of many animals, whether they are vertebrates, invertebrates, birds, reptiles, worms, insects, they reproduce their young ones. Likewise, plants also reproduce the new plant, which is the duplicate copy of the parent plant. And the end of the life pattern is, the death. Yes, every living organism is supposed to meet with its destination of death. Likewise, plants also, when it's completed its life cycle, it is supposed to become the dead as it as all other living organisms can do. So from birth to death, it adopts the same pattern as adopted by any other living organism. So from this, it is clear that plant is a living organism. Now, my dear students, there are different types of plants. Some plants are very small in size, some plants are very big, some plants have flowers, some plants have not any flower, some plants give shadows while others do not have good in shadow, and some plants are they are like we can say that they are the plants are of different natures. Yes, so, another very important aspect of plant is that plants can do photosynthesis. Like what is synthesis? Photosynthesis is basically the process by which plants make their own food. This is actually the capability of only plants, and they are special in this sense that they have capacity to make their own food. So animals do not have this characteristic. So beta photosynthesis is very important for plants in order to get their food, and you know very well why we need food, because in order to meet energy requirements to do the life activities. Okay, beta, you know what is the benefit of photosynthesis to us? There are two benefits to us. One is that it consumes carbon dioxide, and other it produces oxygen, which is very important and basic and essential condition of life. Now, beta, you know there is a green color pigment in plant's body, and that is called as chlorophyll. This is very important because photosynthesis needs five conditions. First condition is at suitable temperature. Second condition is the requirement of carbon dioxide. Third one is water. Fourth one is better at the presence of sunlight, and the fifth is your chlorophyll. If there is no chlorophyll in the leaves of the plant, then there will be no photosynthesis. Now, beta, we are supposed to discuss plants classification. Beta, plant is divided into two main groups. One is non-flowering plants, and other is flowering plants. Yes, non-flowering plants are further subdivided into two groups, mosses and ferns, while flowering plant is divided into two main groups, gymnosperm, angiosperm. Yes, and angiosperm is also further subdivided into two main groups. One is your monocots and other is your dicots. So beta, there are how many groups of living organisms? There are five groups of living organisms. What were their name? Their name is, yes, prokaryotes, moneras, fungi, plants, animals. So what are the main two groups of animals? Yes, vertebrates and invertebrates. So how we can classify plants into how many groups? We classify plants into two groups. Yes, what were their name? What is their name? The non-flowering plant and flowering plant. Okay, flowering plant is divided into how many groups? G. We are supposed to divide flowering plants into two groups. One is your gymnosperm, other is your angiosperm. And now how angiosperm is further subdivided? The answer is it is divided into two groups. One is monocots and second is dicot. And how non-flowering plants, in how many groups non-flowering plants is supposed to classify? They are classified into two groups. One is mosses, which have no roots, and other is fern with have roots. So beta, it is clear that plant has how many? Okay beta, this is the revision of the recap of your lecture. We are supposed to wind up my lecture at this point, that plant is divided into two main categories. One is flowering plant and other is non-flowering plant. Non-flowering plant is divided into two main groups, mosses and fern, while flowering plant is divided into two main groups, gymnosperm and angiosperm, and angiosperm is further subdivided into monocots and dicots. And but end of the day, what are the advantages of plants to us? First, they have produced oxygen as a result of photosynthesis, which is very important for humans and all other animals to survive. Secondly, they provide shelter to the humans, to the animals. Third, they are the source of food and fruits for different living organisms, including humans. They are also used in making furniture. They are also used in order to in the construction work, like windows, construction of window or the doors, etc. They also provide better shelter to different birds and animals, because some animals and plants live on the tree. So these are the generally the advantages of plants. Inshallah beta, tomorrow we are supposed to discuss the classification of plants in detail. So have a good day.